Welcome, beautiful souls, to the Beyond the Belief podcast. I'm your host, Lavender Loveway. With each episode, I invite you personally to join me as we explore a belief. It might be a widely held idea, or a forgotten truth, or perhaps even one that feels unknown or deeply contested. This is a sanctuary for exploration, a place to absorb, listen, and learn with an open heart. We're shedding the heaviness of right and wrong and ascending into the lightness of greater connection and expansive knowledge. Today's episode is no exception. This is another precious opportunity to find a little gem or two of wisdom that helps you reweave your own tapestry of truth. Relationships are at the core of our experience here on Earth. Whether we want them, we don't want them, we choose them, maybe in some cases they are required for us. And whether that be love relationships or platonic relationships, work relationships, you name it, we are in constant contact and constant communion with those around us. And I had recently navigated a couple of different relationships that were experiencing a very similar thing. I was seeking help with relationships where I can feel someone else's energetic overflow, if you will. There's something about when I'm in their presence, we can be exchanging words, and for the most part, the conversation can be pretty positive. But there is a feeling that's left in my space after departing that conversation or towards the latter end of that conversation. And then obviously as I depart. And I never really understood it. As an empath and someone who is also very attuned to not only my own emotions, but those of others, it's very common for me to feel a lot. And so often I would just attribute it to maybe I'm being overly sensitive. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe I am not discovering or uncovering or seeing the full picture. But in asking for clarity from my guides, I was seeking to understand, why do I feel this way? Why does it almost feel like I've been kind of covered, right? Or sprayed with something that I wasn't expecting to have or to walk away from the conversation with. And then what do I do about that? Because it doesn't feel super good to be in a conversation and then kind of walk away feeling sludgy. And as I spoke to my guides, they shared some really incredible things, and I love to unpack them with you. If you are empathic, you can probably feel what I'm feeling. But the energy of others, and especially those if we have a closer or a more dear relationship with, can often feel really overwhelming. So in this episode, I almost want to declare that not only is this a layer of energetic hygiene, but more importantly, this is a true spiritual sovereignty, a sovereignty of your energy, a sovereignty and understanding of your contribution and what you bring and what you're walking away with. I know it's so easy for us to build walls, to keep people out, to keep energy out. And instead we turn all that lovely, beautiful energy into our, little secret garden, if you will, of our own energy. But being that we are here on lovely planet Earth, and the one thing that I think is consistent and deeply interwoven into our experiences is that we are in relationship with others. And regardless of the depth or the type or the kind, in relationship, in communion, in conversation with others, we are bound to get into these scenarios where someone else's energy is kind of impeding coming into our energetic field. And having this awareness, not only discernment, but really awareness, is truly a loving act for us in what we hold and host, and looking at discerning what is actually ours and what is not and might be sloshing kind of up at our feet. What I want to impart first is that my guides went into understanding first, of seeing this first. And I'll share with you here in just one moment what they said. But this is a real thing. And this is really practical as far as understanding that this is a big part of what we may experience from others. Obviously, if we know someone, we sometimes feel, and I feel this, that there is an extra layer of understanding because we know who they are and we know what they're normally like. But I feel like sometimes in the familiarity, it almost gets more lost, or it gets more confusing, or kind of more convoluted, where if we are navigating conversations with someone that we've never spoken to, or maybe we've spoken to only a few times, there's some sort of deeper awareness of what is ours and theirs. But still on both pathways, if we're not aware of our energetic surroundings, but also trusting what we're feeling, I think that's the number one challenge. That's the number one invitation in these situations. So my guides validated that these situations where this happens, where you're feeling the energetic, again, and I'll share with you their exact terminology here in a moment, but this energetic backlash, it is incredibly common, and it can be a very painful experience depending on your level of awareness. So in me sharing this wisdom with you, the intention is to raise your vibrational awareness so that you are not in a place of doubt, and you are believing and trusting these feelings and these almost sensories in what you are experiencing with this relationship. So first they share their healing or lack thereof continues to spray and slosh all over you. And it is very frustrating. And we understand. We truly understand. So I love that they validate first. But what's key that they said there is that their healing or lack thereof. So this spray, as they said it, or slosh. So imagining like water in a glass, and if you have too much water and you're running with the glass and it's kind of like sloshing out, I envision it like that. So their lack of healing is what that spray or slosh actually is. What an incredible, wow. So if we're feeling this spray and slosh, however it is, if it's a lot, if it's a little, it's first awareness that this is a lack of healing. And if we turn the table, it makes sense. This is likely that they're not in, and I use this word loosely, in control, but in control of their feelings or emotions, or maybe their own boundaries. Maybe they're not even aware that their boundaries have been broken or infringed upon from something else outside of what's even happening between the two of you. And for me, hearing that they then also understand gave me so much peace. Because I will say from my own perspective, in these situations where I'm feeling this, I often get kind of a little confused. I'm like, is this me, or am I feeling this? What's happening? This feels weird. I feel like there's something here that I'm feeling a lot of that isn't mine. Like I wasn't feeling like this 5 minutes ago before I started talking to this person. There's questions, but there's also doubt. And for me, hearing that they're saying not only, yes, this is very frustrating, we understand, but this is almost just an indicator or an awareness that you now have about this other person's lack of healing. Funny, it's kind of almost like putting a logical spin on the situation that's very highly charged and highly emotional, but it helped me reframe. And when I reran, as I mentioned, a couple of different relationships that I'm navigating right now, and just reframing that, it gave me so much clarity. It gave me so much light. Next, my guides shared basically what to do. The first plan of action. So if we're in these situations, which, as we know, these situations can happen at any point. They can happen with people that we know, people that we don't know. Somebody kind of loses their marbles. You go to the bank, you get to hear about someone's long day and all the things they've been going through, or it could be your partner, or it could be your child. So it's someone and their energetic lack of healing lack of awareness that's sloshing or spilling out, what do we do? Here's what they shared. Follow your intuition. The challenge, as we have shared, is that they do not have healthy boundaries. So in receiving something from them, it is also receiving their energy. So this is when I kind of took 5 steps back. First of all, following my intuition. When those moments come up and you kind of feel like something's not right, trusting that that means something isn't right. You might not know what it is. You might not know the depths of it yet, but you're sensing something isn't right, to follow that. Then my guides are layering in about having the lack of healthy boundaries. So in someone's lack of healing also means a lack of healthy boundaries. So they are not upholding healthy boundaries for themselves, or obviously in this case, the boundary in which they're breaching with me. Up until this moment, imagine, in this conversation, the other person is talking, they're sloshing and spraying energy, right? at me. At this moment, right now, what I know is that they are not healing. This is not healed energy that's spilling out at me. And they also are not having healthy boundaries. They're not being respectful of healthy boundaries for not only themselves, but also of me and with me. But the key piece then, if we're, kind of pushing pause in this situation, is that then in receiving anything from them, we are also receiving their energy. So let's say in this case, I'm speaking with my neighbor who is having a really hard day and a really hard time, and they are sloshing all over me because they got in a fight with their partner and they don't know if they even want to be with them anymore, and, et cetera, et cetera. This thing is getting bigger and bigger. I know that they are experiencing not healthy boundaries, and there is some lack of healing, lack of attention, lack of self-love, lack of care in what they're navigating with themselves. But let's say right then, my neighbor wants to come over and help me. I'm putting up some picture frames. They want to come help in 20 minutes or even the next day because, I was so kind and listening, and they just want to return the favor. They want to come over and help me out. In me saying yes, which I might have in the past felt a little guilty, like, oh, they're having a hard time. Maybe this would be good. Maybe they can talk more. They can let it out. I get somebody to help hang my pictures, so it's a win-win. But what we don't see is that we are actually exchanging energy. So regardless of their physical time, regardless of their help and their hands in allowing me to get my pictures on the wall, we are also exchanging energy. And I want to expand this out to also mean if this person is offering to obviously volunteer their time or give their time, give their energy, give their money, a favor, compliments, gifts. It could be any of these things that they are then wanting to give to you, but there's always an exchange. And for me, often I would see that gift, that exchange, whatever it may be, as the thing that helped right-size the initial slosh of energy. But what I'm seeing and what they're communicating is that no, in fact, this creates then another exchange. And in this way, I am now receiving this same energy. And in many specific cases, it could be receiving the exact same energy that has then sloshed on me. And in understanding this, that, holy cow, I am in a very interesting, precarious position because I've received this slosh without invitation, and then they're offering to do something for me or give something to me, and I'm feeling like they're trying to do something kind because, they just were sloshing their energy all over me, but now it's actually an additional exchange. So in many cases, this is not giving me a net positive. In this moment of realizing this, first, I thought, wow, I have never thought of energy exchanges like this before. And especially if I am a sensitive person, if I am a sensitive being, I am going to be hyper sensitive to these exchanges. But in thinking through a logical mind, I am definitely at least net zero, but I really should be positive because they're willing to go out of their way to help me. But from an energetic perspective, I am not. In this exact moment, right, where I'm going to click unpause now. So this neighbor has sloshed their energy on me, exchanged this, right? So now I'm at a negative. Now they want to give me something to help offset that, probably the guilt of doing so, but they're instead probably going to bring a lot more of that over. What does this mean for me? What do I do next? Or what is my approach next? Here's what my guides shared. And as much as you can, do not stay or reside in that energy. Be observant, allow it to pass through you, and release it. Then expel it, not staying in the energy. And I will say from my own journey, my own life journey, this is where I have been the most challenged because I feel I need to fix. And so I stay in it. In this case with my neighbor, I would say, yes, come over, I'll make us some tea and you can help me with these picture frames. And this would be a really nice way to essentially balance the scales. And instead, I'm seeing now that I chose to go back into that energy and essentially get more slosh, more spray, more challenge, more imbalance. And I can say this for a fact. After those situations, then I would walk away even more tired, more fatigued, and so confused. Like, how did I get here? I thought that everything was balanced. Maybe I'm just super sensitive. I am overly sensitive. And I would turn it inward. But instead, my guides cleared the path, illuminated what is happening. I am taking on energy that is not mine. I am trying to attempt to fix energy that is coming from a lack of healing and a lack of healthy boundaries from that person. And yes, granted, there are things that I need to do for my own boundaries and my own energy. But this is what my guides were sharing. They are sharing with me the exact instructions, the exact pointed way of how to navigate these situations. For those of us that are challenged and tasked with trying to fix, or most times trying to fix, instead, we must sit back up into the seat of the observer to look at the scenario and the situation, to allow it for what it is, allow the sloshing, allow the things, rewinding back to that initial conversation. And when my neighbor offers to come over and help me with the picture frames, you know what? I really appreciate that. But I've got it. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me that you would even offer. Sever that as swiftly as possible and to allow it to pass through me. I think this is so important, y'all. Imagine the sloshing that's happening. Normally, then I would take it and I would talk about it. I would own it. I would clean it up. It would be me. But this is not me. This is happening in front of me. And yes, it is sloshing on me, but instead I'm going to allow it to pass through me. It's as if it didn't even happen. It just continues. It's like, oh, there it goes. It's just keeps on going that way. I'm just allowing it to pass through me. And then I'm going to expel it. And of course, when we're talking about expelling, to me, this is energetic hygiene. This is being aware of the things that we have been exposed to, have exchanged, and what needs to happen next. I don't know if y'all have observed this of, let's say, ducks or geese, but when they have a scuffle or they're doing something and they kind of just get away from the energy, they shake it off. They like shake entirely. It's like, right? Like they shake it all off. And this is what I imagine we need to do from that energetic hygiene perspective. Literally shaking off the energy. But I can say for myself, I never did that. I just hold on to it. I just tell myself, I just need to let it go. Oh, I just need to be this. But not being aware that we are exchanging energy with others, even if we don't think we are. And depending on how aware we are of our own energetic field, our own energetic boundaries, our own energetic healing, we could also be infringing on others and maybe sharing energy that we don't want to share, that we need to instead look inwardly and heal. in this awareness of, okay, this is my shaking it off activity. How does one expel this energy? And here's what my guide shared. If you need to, you can do so with water, the shower, a bath, something to expel the energy. Ground yourself in nature. Those are not energies you need to continue to invite in. Of course, unless you choose. So water is a great expelling vehicle. And I'm thinking about in this scenario where I'm talking to my neighbor and, oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that you offered. I got it. Hope you have a great day. I'm out of here. I go inside. Maybe I have a moment of reflection. Wow, that was interesting. That was curious. And acknowledge I definitely felt that. This is where I kind of felt it was maybe a little too much. But you know what? That's their emotion. That's their feelings. That's their life. That's their choice. Whatever it may be, allowing it to pass through me. And then I'm going to go take a shower. Or you know what? It is time for a hot bath. I think at this point, this would be a good thing for me. And following that is so crucial to then be able to expel that energy and then it's gone. It's gone. And this, my friends, truly has changed my perspective. I have stopped going into fix mode and instead going into observe mode and then release mode, expelling, allowing others can do whatever they want. They can. But as can I. I do not have to stay in that energy. I do not have to fix that energy. It is not my problem to fix. And if they continue to choose whatever they choose, that is up to them. But I have the choice whether I am entertaining that, helping that, making that happen. I do. And we don't realize how powerful we are. We don't realize that we do have a say. So I'd love to invite you to contemplate this exact scenario. Has this happened to you? Have you felt this before? The slosh, the spray of someone else's energy? But being aware that if we continue to entertain that and invite them in and allow their gifts in or allow their exchange of energy, we are receiving more of what we've already identified we probably don't want. Then we're also holding on to it. We're not even allowing it to pass through us, or better yet, we have not been able to actually expel it. So we're still walking around with remnants of it in our energetic auras. And the energetic hygiene of understanding that when we exchange energy with others, when we're exchanging words, think about it that way, or glances, or even in physical proximity in a sense of a two-way street. And we voluntarily say yes, we take that on, we acknowledge that, we see it. We are taking on a bit of that ourselves, or a lot of that ourselves. And we have a choice whether we want to do that or not. We don't have to. We don't have to do anything. The world might tell us we need to, or have to, or should. But that is culture. And you, my friend, have your own culture with yourself and with those that you choose to exchange energy with. And for me, that was the final cherry on the sundae, if you will, that we don't understand how powerful our exchanges, our relationships, our conversations are. And that if, in fact, that other person is not doing their hygiene, if they're not aware of their energetic hygiene, their healing or lack thereof, their lack of healthy boundaries, it can affect us if we allow it, if we accept it, if we choose to take it on as our own. So in hearing this, for me, this set me free. And I would love to invite you to contemplate this on a deeper level, thinking about maybe the last 5 conversations that you've entertained. And the wild thing is it doesn't have to be physical. So it doesn't have to be that, you saw your neighbor and you went outside. Could be that they called you. Honestly, I can see this even happening in email exchanges. So something in writing or text messages. So it doesn't have to be physical conversations. It is literally exchanging energy with another being. If you can think about it that way, any exchange is also energy, and loving yourself truly, truly loving yourself to your core, to your beautiful soul, is that energy you want to entertain? Is that energy you want to have splashed into your aura? And if it's not, there's a way to create a healthy boundary for yourself, to be the observer and see the situation, to allow it to just pass through you, and to expel any energy. Cleanse yourself. Because energetic hygiene is really important. But I think that often energetic hygiene is used in a large fight or something that's a huge exchange, or if somebody is cruel to us, it would be easier for us to see it. But these exchanges can happen even with the smallest conversations. And I am deeply hopeful that this same message lands in your beautiful heart the way that it did mine, because it has changed my view of myself and my relationships, the conversations that I entertain now on a daily basis, so much more differently. And I can confidently say I am so much more healed and free.